Hello, good evening.
Hello, good evening, sir.
Okay, so shall we start?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. So can you walk me through how you have customized the incident management module in a past project?
Yeah, sure. In one of my project, we had to align incident management with ITL process. Okay, that was a say from the client, so we have to do that. So in that, we have created custom fields like customer impact level and application names. We have modified the assignment rules to include location-based assignment logic. Along with that, we have customized the state model as well. Okay, in that we have added a few more states like pending approval state for vendor initial incidents. We have used business rules to auto-calculate priority based on impact and urgency. We have integrated email inbound actions to create update incidents via structured email. We have added custom reports and dashboards as well, okay, for incidents having a trend analysis. So these are the few customizations which we did in the out-of-box ServiceNow incident management. And then finally, we captured it in update sets and move it to production from development to QA and then finally into production.
Okay, good. What's the difference between a business rule and a script include? In what scenarios would you use it?
Sure. So business rule is a server-side script that runs on CRUD operations on a table, whereas a script include is a reusable server-side code that can be called from other scripts, okay, such as from server using 𝐄𝐧𝐠𝐥𝐢𝐬𝐡. In terms of usability, we use business rules when we need logic triggered during the record lifecycle, like before insert, before update, after insert, after update, etc., etc. Whereas we use script include to centralize the logic and reduce the redundancy. For example, if there is any common approval logic which is shared among various modules, so in that case we create a single script include, and on various stages, various events, we call it.
Okay. How do you manage workflows using both workflow editor and flow designer? Which one do you prefer and why?
Okay, so I have used both basically workflow editor as well as flow designer. So workflow editor was not used now, okay, not that much because it was a traditional and great for complex branching logic, approvals and timers, whereas flow designer is a new one. Okay, it is a low code option and it is better for integrations, reusable subflows, and easy maintenance. Okay, so for new implementation, I prefer Flow Designer because it is having a better debugging capabilities. It has better debugging tools. Okay, it has option to create actions, which is again reusable. So once I create an action, I can use it into other flows as well. It has the capabilities of integration hubs. It is having a cleaner UI and a better long-term support from ServiceNow. So this is the difference between both.
Okay. Let's say you need to auto-assign incidents based on category and location. How would you architect this solution?
Okay, so to provide a solution in this, we can create assignment rules, okay, with conditions for category and locations. To make it more specific, we can use lookup rules as well, which is there to identify the correct assignment groups, okay. If this is dynamic, then in that case, we have to use business rules. In that, we can use glide record to fetch the assignment group from the reference table. We have to ensure proper validation as well in this, like we can create UI policy or client script to provide proper validation. We have to make sure that location and category fields are mandatory on the form. So just keeping all these things, we can easily provide a custom solution for this.
Have you worked with HR case management in HRSD? If yes, how did you extend or configure HR services for different employee types?
Yes, I have worked on HR case management in couple of implementations. One of the key requirement was to offer different HR services based on the employee type. For example, interns should see only the onboarding related services, whereas full-time employees need access to broader sets. Okay, so to handle that, we used HR criteria to segment the visibility of HR services. We also have configured the lifecycle events for onboarding and offboarding processes and ensures that the cases route to the correct HR service group based on the user department and location. Uh, in few cases, we have created access controls as well. So these access controls were tightly implemented to prevent unauthorized HR data visibility, especially when it comes to, you know, look for sensitive requests like grievances and compensation issues. So in this way, we have configured all these things.
Okay, come to the next question. Imagine the change approval workflows is talking too long due to unnecessary approvals. How would you optimize it while maintaining compliance?
Okay, so first of all, I would review the existing approval flow to understand who all are involved and what is their role and why they are involved. So generally it is happening because often historical reasons lead to excessive approvals being added. So after validating with the change management and the compliance team, I will streamline the workflow by using change approval policies, which allow us to dynamically skip the certain approval based on the conditions like risk, CI type, or implementation groups. In this, I do also ensure the risk calculator is working properly and correctly so that the low risk changes get faster path.
Okay. You receive a request that multiple catalog items need a new mandatory field. What's the most efficient way to implement and test this?
Okay, so for this scenario, I will first check if the affected catalog item shares a common variable set or not. If they do, I will add the new mandatory field or new mandatory variable in that variable set. If not, I will consider creating one and attaching it to the catalog item because if we have multiple catalog item and similar fields are there, in that case we can uh, save the time and effort by using variable set. Okay. So once added, I will use UI policies or client scripts to ensure mandatory logic and visibility conditions if needed. So after implementation is complete, I will preview each catalog item through Service Catalog portal and then test multiple submission flows to ensure that the field logic which I have implemented is working constantly and correctly. Okay. So based on this, I will handle this situation.
Okay. Our client says their SLA metrics are inconsistent across the dashboard. What diagnostic steps would you take to identify and fix the issue?
Okay. So to investigate inconsistent SLA matrices, I will first look at the SLA definition and conditions, especially the start, stop, and pause conditions. Okay. Sometimes, retroactive start or multiple overlapping SLAs can also cause the conflict. So I will check that as well. Finally, if we still have the issue, I will also examine the task SLA records and use timelines to see how SLA behaves on to see how SLA behave for individual tasks. I will also confirm if there is any custom script which is overriding the logic here. So these all are the steps which I will follow to ensure we get the issue and get it fixed.
Okay. Suppose a transform map is loading data incorrectly. Only half the records are updating. What's your troubleshooting approach?
Okay. So, my first step would be to examine the import logs for any error or skipped rows. Okay. So we have to first look into these errored or skipped rows. Then I will review the transform map, especially the 𝐄𝐧𝐠𝐥𝐢𝐬𝐡 settings. If the 𝐄𝐳𝐥 is misconfigured or not matching to the existing record, the update won't be happening. So it may be because of that. Okay. Finally, Finally, I will also check the on before and on after scripts to see if any conditional logic is preventing record updates. So along with all these steps, there is one more possibility is that incorrect field mapping or data type mismatch. So I will also check this. Okay. So once I have got the issue, we will fix it and we do a final testing. And once it is done, well, we'll move the fix to next instance like QA or production.
Okay. You need to create a report that shows all high priority problems without known errors. How would you build it in the platform?
Okay, so I do create a new report on problem table and apply a filter such as where priority is high, okay, and the known error field is either false or empty. And depending on the audience, I will choose a table view for analysis or a bar chart for executive stakeholders. I will also verify that the known error field is being consistently populated across the records. Okay. So once built, I will add the report to the dashboard if needed. And we can also schedule the report to send it to the problem managers on weekly basis.
Okay. Explain the difference between glide record and glide ajax with example.
Okay. Glide record is used for querying or manipulating records on server side. For example, if I want to fetch all open incidents, I will use glide record inside a business rule or a script include. Glide Ajax, on the other hand, is used when you need to call server-side logic from a client-side script. For example, I had a requirement where I need to display the number of open incidents assigned to a logged-in user dynamically on the form. So in that case, I will create a script include with the function to count incidents and then call it using a glide Ajax from a client script. So this way we avoid duplicating the logic and maintaining the performance as well, since the data processing remained on the server, but the request is coming from the client side.
Okay. What are client scripts and UI policies? When would you prefer one over the other?
Client script and UI policies both operate on the client side, first of all, but they serve different purposes, basically. UI policy are ideal for declarative actions, such as making field mandatory, visible or read-only based on the conditions. Okay, and they do not require much scripting, basically. So I used to prefer UI policy when the logic is straightforward, whereas client scripts are better suited for complex interactions, such as performing some calculations, reacting to the field changes, or validating input on the form submission. So, for example, I had once a requirement where a field had to be auto-filled based on another field selection. Okay. So in that case, I used the client script. So this is how we use both of the options of client script and UI policies.
Okay. Can you give an example of a use case where you had to use asynchronous processing in ServiceNow?
Yes, I do recall one use case where I have used it. So one practical example was during a mass update of HR case records after the policy change. Okay, so in that case, we had to send thousands of notifications with the PDF attached. So we had not much options but to use asynchronous flow there, because doing that synchronously would have delayed the form submission or even risk timeouts. Okay, so I used the event queue mechanism and scheduled job to handle the email processing in the backgrounds, achieve this asynchronously. In one more instance, we used asynchronous glide Ajax calls to fetch the third-party data without blocking the user experience on the form. So using asynchronous option helped keeping the UI responsive while the server handled heavy lifting behind the scenes. So this is how we preferred and used asynchronous process in ServiceNow.
Okay. How do you ensure your scripts are performance optimized and secure on the ServiceNow platform?
Definitely. While writing the scripts, I focus on limiting the data set I generally use add active query and set limit functions of glide record wherever possible. I also avoided nested glide record queries because they generally degrade the performance. Okay. We always often consider reusability factor. Okay. Because reusability is another key practice. Instead of repeating the logic across business rule, we can centralize it into a script include. So finally, for security, I use access controls and avoid exposing sensitive information, sensitive data to the client layer. Okay. Along with this, we also can avoid using hard coding sysids and always use try-catch blocks in whenever we are writing a code. Okay. I also test my script using a large data set in lower environment to ensure we have proper scalable, solution which is there. So we generally do rigorous testing on n number of data sets so that when we actually go in production, the script will not fail with large amount of data. So this is how we keep track of performance and security on ServiceNow platform at my instance.
What are the script actions and how do they differ from email notifications?
Sure. Script actions are triggered by events and allow you to run the server-side scripts, while notifications are used to send predefined email templates. I used script actions when there is a backend logic needed, like creating a follow-up task, logging into custom tables, or triggering a third-party integrations. For example, after an incident is resolved, if the category is network, a script action might auto create a problem record based on the certain condition. Whereas email notifications, on the other hand, are the best when you just want to inform the users with minimum logic. Okay, just notifying the assignee when the record is created, for example.
Okay. How do you set up and manage import sets and transform maps for recurring external data uploads?
So first of all, I start by defining the data source. A data source could be a CSV, Excel file, or even the data coming from FTP or JDBC. After that, I create an import set table which hold the data for temporary basis, okay, which is coming from outside into ServiceNow. So once we do this successfully, after that, I define a transform map where I map the fields between the source and the target table. If the data has, updates, if the data updates are expected, I configure the 𝐄𝐧𝐠𝐥𝐢𝐬𝐡 on the unique fields like email ID, external ID, or SSO ID, whatever ID is there, which is used to uniquely identify that particular information. Okay. So once we do that, our system is ready. In case of recurring loads, we schedule the data source using scheduled imports. Finally, I also add some scripts to catch the errors or anomalies. In case we have to do recurring loads, we can set up or schedule a data source using a scheduled import as well.
Okay. What best practices do you follow when creating record, producer, and order guides?
Sure. So for record producers, I keep form minimal and mobile friendly because this is a direct thing which is available for the users. They may or may not be technical, right? So I also use variable sets, variable applicable to reduce redundancy, and I map the field directly to the target table using the producer scripts. And I also map the field directly to the target table as well. I also validate the input with client script to prevent any bad data being entered into the system. Okay, so this is for record producer. For order guides, I always verify the execution plan thoroughly, ensuring that the sequence of the catalog item makes sense and does not break dependencies. Finally, I document the use cases clearly, especially when the order guides involve approval or script logic, so that we have the maintenance in going forward in later days easy and very specific.
Okay. Can you talk about a time you built a performance analytics dashboard? What KPI were critical and how did you ensure accuracy?
Okay, yes, I have built a performance analytic dashboard for a client's incident management team. So in that, the key KPIs included mean time to resolution, SLA bleach percentage, first call resolution rate, and incident volume by category. So these are the 4 to 5 KPIs which we have created. Okay. So to ensure the accuracy, I first validated the data sources, making sure that all the underlying incidents were updated consistently. I also configured the data collectors to run daily and ensure no historic gaps. Okay. For stakeholder visibility, I added threshold and breakdowns as well for priority and assignment group fields. I also configured a schedule export that sent a weekly PDF snapshot to the department heads as well. So the insights were actionable and on timely basis.
Okay, thank you for giving your time.
Thank you so much, sir. Bye.
Welcome.